Rick, just for you.
Yeah, I did it. I went out there and played it. It's good music. It's Eric Clapton. It's Let It Rain. It ain't going to happen today. No rain today. Matter of fact, though, we've got a period to dry out, thankfully. Today, tomorrow, Saturday, which is going to be Buddy Ball Saturday, will be dried out for that. The Battle of Pleasant Hill, which will be going on in Mansfield. It'll be soggy soil conditions, but it's going to be happening. No rain, weather is wonderful. We need to dry out. Another event that's coming up Saturday and in the studio, and also folks are looking at, folks here, it's going to be Black Rifle Coffee Company from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Shirley Wesselhoeft here, and also Tim Sherman. Shirley, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Rick. Thank you very much for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And introduce your friend, because you're the one that engineered this event here this morning. Who do we have in the studio?
Okay, this is Tim Sherman. He is on.
Are you going to conduct the interview, or am I?
You are.
Okay.
This is Tim Sherman. He's on the board of the Chenault Aviation and Military Museum, and he has Black Rifle. He has Victory Military Surplus.
Tim, what do you have?
I've got a small store. It's Victory Military Surplus,
Right.
in Monroe,
All right.
and it's a small store where we just honor veterans, really.
All right, well, we'll get to that in just a second. The main thing is going to be coming up this Saturday morning at Black Rifle Coffee Company from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Shirley, how did this event come about? It's so you're going to be on site. Tim will be on site. Tell us more about what's going to happen.
Well, we just went into the coffee shop and met with Chris, the manager, and asked her if we could do something like this there for our veterans, and having my book sale. You know, it's my husband's story is a veteran's story, and then Tim has his aviation art that he sells, and they were really excited about it, and so they said, yeah, sure, come on, let's do it.
All right, so you're going to be there, Black Rifle Coffee Company. That's on Kentucky, 1 block off Farmerville Highway, from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. Wesselhoeft is the name of the book, Traded to the Enemy. Now, Shirley, I've interviewed you and Wes numerous times. Actually, Wes, give us a synopsis of the book, because it still blows my ever-loving mind of what happened, but it happened.
Well, Wes was born in Chicago to German immigrant parents, and during World War II, he was an American citizen, and his parents were immigrants, but during World War II, he and his family and other Germans were taken and put in an internment camp in way southwest Texas. They were in that camp for a year, and then they were taken along with other Germans and literally traded with the Germans into the war zone. So Wes rode out the war. When he went there, he was a 7-year-old American boy.
Right.
Didn't speak a word of English.
I thought he was 3. My bad. 7 years old. So he's deported from his native country to Nazi Germany. Just to make sure people fully understand what we're talking about.
Yes, that's correct. He was really expatriated to Germany, and he was living in Hamburg. Didn't speak a word of German when he got there. And they were being bombed regularly by us in the daytime,
right,
by the mighty 8th Air Force, in the daytime, and at night by the British. And at first they sought shelter in bomb shelters, but people got trapped in those because of debris falling on them. So they just decided not to go to the shelters, to just move out of the way and try to miss the bombing.
The book is a dynamic read, and Shirley will be selling them this Saturday at Black Rifle Coffee Company from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. So to make sure people understand this, he's born to German immigrant parents. World War II breaks out, and then he goes to, we don't call them concentration camps here in America, but they are camps in South Texas. We've heard about the Japanese rounded up, but the Germans were as well. And correct me if I'm wrong, Shirley, the book says traded to the enemy. This wasn't like a baseball deal, like saying we got 50 Germans here in America and we want 50 Americans out of Nazi Germany. He wasn't traded, am I right?
Oh, no, he actually was traded.
Explain.
The ship went over. The ship he went on, the Gripsholm, had over 1,100 Germans that were being traded with the Nazis. And the trade actually took place in Lisbon,
What did we get for him?
We got
is what I'm-
back. I know we got back severely wounded soldiers. A lot of severely wounded soldiers because the Nazis didn't want to take care of them anymore. You know, they knew that they could release them back to us, and they would not come back and fight another day. They were too wounded. And also some diplomats. One of the diplomats was named Douglas MacArthur, and he was the nephew of the general. That's a fact.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Yes. He
Wait.
was.
From the little incidents of life that we have a tendency to overlook that are on big things. Really. So if that didn't happen, there was a high probability Douglas MacArthur wouldn't have had his career in the Pacific theater.
Well, now it was the general's nephew. He was a diplomat to the Vichy government in France.
Now I'm confused. Was it Douglas or his nephew?
It was his nephew, but his
Okay.
name was also Douglas MacArthur.
Okay.
I think it was the fourth.
I got it. All right, so not only that's not the end of the story, as incredible as that is. So, Wes, tell us what happened after the war, because he didn't get to come back to the United States for how long?
Until 1958. He went over there in 44.
58. And then, that's not the end of the story either. What does he decide to do with his life?
Well, in 1958, he was in touch with our consulate over there, and they said, hey, you're American, you can go back. So he bought the cheapest ticket that he could on the Holland America line, and he came into the New York City area, and when he got there, he went directly to the recruiting office at Times Square and joined the Air Force. He spent 22 years in the Air Force. He was a Vietnam veteran. He went in with the lowest possible rank, I guess, recruit. I'm not really sure what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He retired as a lieutenant colonel, and he was a Vietnam veteran, and he passed away last year from the effects of Agent Orange.
Yeah, condolences to you as well. I mean, the man, and I had the privilege to interview him, Shirley, as you know, I'm going to guess maybe 3 times. The dog, how's the dog?
Oh, the dog is fine.
What's
I've
his
got
name?
him. His name is Neely.
Neil.
And my daughter says everybody asked her last year, particularly after Wes passed away.
Oh, gosh.
How's your mom? The question number 1 was, how's your mom?
Right.
Question number 2 is, what about Neely?
Right. And will Neely be there this Saturday? Bring
Bring
Neely.
Neely?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, all right, I'll bring Neely.
Bring Neely. All right. So, how did you and Tim get together or associate? When did that happen?
Well, I've known Tim quite a while because he is on the board at the Chenault Aviation and Military Museum. They have an exhibit on my husband in the museum, and Wes and I kind of call the museum our home away from home.
Right.
And so we attended many events at the Chenault, and we got to know Tim. Tim knew Wes, and so we've just known each other a long time as a result of being involved with the Chenault Aviation and Military Museum in Monroe.
So pass the mic over to Tim, and Tim, first of all, brag on the Chenault Aviation and Military Museum, because I am, I've interviewed Nell going
Yes.
back into the 1990s, and you talk about a dynamic personality, the granddaughter of Major General Claire Chenault, who literally disobeyed the United States government to help humanity out in China, and there are more statues of General Chenault in China for all of his benevolence. How did you get involved in that?
Well, I became a member at the Chenault Museum when I first got back here from working for an airline. I moved back to Monroe and joined the museum, and then shortly, not too much longer after, they requested that I be on the board, and I said sure. So I did.
Right.
Got to know Nell and all the people there real well. By the way, Nell would love to do this also.
And
You know how
I know
outgoing
that.
she is.
I know that, and I'll do it anywhere, any place, anytime.
Great.
Okay, we'll tell her that.
And so,
She knows that, but go ahead.
yes. So I got to know Wes because he would come and visit just to sign books or sign Bibles, and he would always dress in his uniform
Right,
every time he came,
right.
and loved it. And so I got to visit with him and Miss Shirley, and then a year ago, Wes passed away.
Right.
And
All right, what's the aviation art? Where's that component
Okay.
fit into this?
my store, which is located in Lakeshore in Monroe, off 80, is it's a store that sells military surplus, but the purpose of it is to honor our veterans, for one. But in order to do that, we have to inform people. And that's what these books do. Books inform people of not just history or veterans, but its freedom. And so I get pretty emotional when I talk about it.
Go ahead.
Because
Life is an emotion.
yes, it is. And the books that I have, I've got over probably 500, 600 books in there for sale, or just people can come in and read for their information if they want. But it is all about freedom. And so that's what Wes's book is about. That's what another book is about that I promote. And we do a lot of that there at the location. At the store, we do podcasts, we do book signings, we do remote radio broadcasts there. And so we're getting the information out.
Sure enough, it's called Victory Military Surplus in the Lakeshore District. Am I right?
Correct.
Give me the
7913 Desert Street.
All right. And so you're going to be coming to Black Rifle Coffee Company this Saturday from 10 a.m. till 6. What are you bringing?
I am bringing some aviation art. And what that is, it is information. It's aviation art, to me, is just a snapshot of history. So the artwork that I have is artwork that is signed and numbered by the author or artist, and it paints a picture in time of an actual event, and the pictures are signed by the author. They're numbered prints, so that means they'll never be reproduced.
Right.
But a lot of them are signed by the pilots of the aircraft as well, which now are long gone, usually.
So, okay, yeah, give me the era we're talking
this
about.
is mainly World War II.
World
I
War
have some
II.
Vietnam as well, Vietnam era and Korea.
And so these are not just local artists. These are artists from all over, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Popular artists.
All right, so you're going to bring these. Will they be for sale?
They're
Or
gonna
they're
be
just,
on-
is this just for a show?
It's just for show.
I
I
got
do
it.
have some pen and ink drawings of my own that I've done that will be for sale, but they'll be on display too. But most everything is on display. We can talk about it, talk about the events, talk about the artists.
You mean Saturday?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Black Rifle Coffee Company, Kentucky. That's 1 block off of Farmerville Highway. Shirley Wesselhoeft will be there with the book Wesselhoeft Traded to the Enemy. Aviation Art, the collection from Tim Sherman, who is the owner of Victory Military Surplus. The event is free. And who's this skinny guy in front of that helicopter we're looking at right now? Well,
I don't know
you're
him
still
anymore.
a skinny guy. I should have said, who's this younger?
He was probably rough and tough back then, but not anymore.
Yeah. I'll leave those questions for another time, and that's why.
Former Marine, right?
No, look. I'm not military. I just so happen to be born on Memorial Day in 1955, so I have a deep understanding.
Yeah.
I'm totally anti-war, but I am pro-warrior and their families.
Sure.
So that being said, and in my education of all that, matter of fact, it was my mother that knocked me on the side of my head on my birthday when I was, I'm thinking 4 years old, because back then, if you go back, this is 1959, they had all of the parades, the tanks, the veterans.
Yeah, in New Jersey.
Yes, that's right. And then the Gold Star Mothers came by, and everybody stood up, and everybody was quiet. And she knocked me on the side of my head, and because I thought the parade was for me, and she said, "Stand up, the Gold Star Mothers." So I get a true understanding of it, and that's why I hate it. War, that is. All that being said, I'm here to help and here to promote. So all that, there's no such thing as a former Marine, is there?
There's former Marine, not ex-Marine, former Marine.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for
I'm a
correcting me.
former
All right. So when a Marine tells me there is no such thing as a former Marine, me as a no Marine can say I've heard it from an ex-Marine buddy, and then I'm calling you up because I'm fixing to get in a fight right after that.
That's right.
All right. So honoring veterans one customer at a time. What do you mean by that?
What I mean is I have a retail store at this location, and mainly veterans come in, or people that are interested in the service. They come in, and we like to talk. We like to tell stories, but mainly, if whatever sells in the store, 10% of that goes to the Chenault Museum. So what
Yeah.
that does is helps our veterans locally.
Right,
It helps
right.
PTSD group, PTSD group, and also disabled American veterans.
I mean, it's a safe assumption to say every veteran is a PTSD.
That's correct.
I mean, I'm even surprised every person born, there is a post-traumatic shock coming through the birth canal to even get to this reality. You know what I mean? But so all that being said, let's get serious. It's more than a museum, the Chennault Aviation and Military Museum. You're on the board there, and also the retail store. So if you want to find out more, talk to this gentleman. Tim Sherman's going to be at Black Rifle Coffee Company from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Shirley Wesselhoeft will be there as well with the book Traded to the Enemy, Wesselhoeft. Shirley, what? You had something?
show it?
No. Well, yeah, go ahead and show it.
No,
Yeah.
I can't. I already
you
did.
can- yeah,
I already did.
That's fine.
This
That's
is the
fine.
book.
No. That's quite all right.
Okay, thank you.
In your travels with Wes and even up until now, the place where you, he, and is it Nellie or Neely? Did you say
Neely.
Neely. What encounter with a particular person, could be a veteran, maybe not a veteran, that you said, you know what? I'm glad I went to that event because I never would have known the person or that event. What would that be?
Well, that would be the Chennault Aviation and Military Museum. Wes and I attended an officers association meeting there. They had a luncheon and we attended, and we had Neely with us. And Nell got up to welcome everybody, and she saw Neely, and she thought to herself, I've got to find out about these people. And she came over, and after the meeting, she came over, she met us, she talked to Wes about his story, and she said, we got to have an exhibit in here
Wow.
on you. And that was the first actual recognition that Wes got for what, for his story.
What year was that?
What year was that? It was about 2018, I think. It was the same year maybe we put the book out. And it might have been 17. But it was, because of her recognition, then Congressman Abraham told
Right.
Wes's story on the floor of the House of Representatives. And we got
Another veteran.
Yes, he is a veteran. He certainly is, and we are very appreciative of his service in both those capacities, as a congressman and as a service member. But he told Wes's story on the floor of the House of Representatives, and we got to be there. We had just come back from Germany, and they notified us that it was going to happen that week, and so we just turned around and went right back to Washington. And it was really pretty cool to be sitting there in the House of Representatives, the U.S. House of Representatives, and hear Wes's story told by our congressman. It was just, I cried through the whole thing.
You're going to cry now if you don't stop. Now, no, then that's fine. Again, life is an
It could
emotion.
happen.
I know. All right, so folks who may not be able to get to Black Rifle Coffee Company this Saturday from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Kentucky and Ruston, where else can they get Wesselhoeft, Traded to the Enemy, and pick up a copy of the book?
Okay, it's at Tim's shop. It's at the museum. Most Saturdays, I'm at the Ruston Farmers Market with it. Sometimes I'm out at Big Creek Trade Days, and because I have to be outside, so I'm out there. If the weather's nice, I try to be out there. So those are.
And Amazon too, right?
Oh, yes,
Amazon.
Amazon.com.
Yeah.
But if you, they can certainly buy it there. But if they buy it at any of the other places, they will get an autographed copy.
Oh, an autographed copy. I like
That's
that. All right, what else could we say here this morning to make this coming Saturday's event? By the way, thank you, Black Rifle Coffee. Thank you, Chris Mason. Wide open to do integrated events for Black Rifle Coffee Company. It's one of the most spacious coffee shops in Ruston. Tim, you've traveled around a little bit. Have you ever seen a coffee shop like that?
I don't drink coffee, but
Well, there's always,
Say that.
today is a day of experimentation,
but I like what they stand for, and I
yeah.
like that it's from veterans, a veteran-owned company. I like everything they stand for, but I do go and drink their tea,
They do
Okay.
have-
and
that's
it's a
fine.
great shop. It's wide open, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great place to come in and do your schoolwork, mingle with other people, and that's why it's a great venue for us for meeting veterans this weekend.
Did you fly this thing, this helicopter?
I did. I tried to.
What kind of that ain't a Huey, is it?
No. It's about 5 times larger than that. It's a CH-53C Stallion.
Listen to me talk like I know what I'm talking about. Really,
What he
it's a
just
Huey is
said.
no small helicopter, right? And you said it was 5
Yeah,
times?
it holds about 42 troops, and you can, external cannons and jeeps underneath it, and haul gear wherever it needs to go with troops. So
It's kind of amazing.
Great helicopter.
Let's look at this again.
Yeah.
You probably weigh all of 125 soaking wet,
Yeah,
and you're flying jeeps around in there and
Yeah.
true. Really?
yeah, it's
Awesome.
pretty neat mission.
Awesome. Okay, so the artwork will be there this Saturday. You're going to bring it, and folks can come on out to Black Rifle Coffee Company, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Any closing thoughts, closing words?
Well, we just want everybody to come and meet Tim, see the artwork, buy a book if you haven't already got one, and have a good time. Have
Sure.
a real good time there at Black Rifle.
All right.
Yeah, and it's open to anybody, but we
course
put
it is.
feelers out to veterans because we want veterans to express themselves. We want them to tell their stories to other veterans, and that's what these books are all about.
Right. Right.
Wes, and along with others, like my dad, he didn't want to talk about his service. So if we can get veterans to at least journal, they can be
There's
putting
something
their
therapeutic about
information
that.
down.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Very therapeutic.
All right. Well, let's see. Saturday, 10 to 6. I'll be able to be there after 1 o'clock, and I will stop by because I do Buddy Ball in the morning. But 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for America's Coffee at Black Rifle Coffee. Stop by. Great breakfasts that they have. And as Tim mentioned, not only teas, they have some also, matter of fact, I think I got a smoky non-THC or cannabis. It was a smoky flavor thing, coffee that Chris made for me. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yes,
You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
I do know what you're talking about.
They can
All right.
customize it. Yeah.
And they have a case there. I think they have juice, and I know they have
Oh,
Cokes
yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
And so you don't have, it's not just coffee or tea.
Sure enough.
They have a good selection.
Coffee, tea, or
And
meat.
Rick,
Yes.
I do want to tell you that none of us like war. None of us like war. There are those who serve. None of us like war.
I know that. We're
I
not.
know you know it. They don't like it any more than you do.
I get it. But I am here to help, and so hopefully this helped. Now, for everybody who's watching or listening, you know what to do to help us help them is to push this far and wide. You have a personal network on your social media platforms that if you're not using it to promote good, you're letting others take the ground. So let's advance this message out far and wide and help out Tim Sherman and Shirley Wesselhoeft, as well as Black Rifle Coffee Company. Thank you all for coming in today.
Thank you.
For having us.
You're most
Thank you very
welcome.
much, Rick.
All right, here is Poco on the new Rue 102 with the heart of the night. It's 8:49. Good morning. We are still live streaming.
Okay.
Okay.
So there you have it. Take this and do what you need to do with it and make it happen. We're off the radio now, so that little prop is useless. We'll stream you later.